Hello everyone, I'm Luca Olivini. I'm the Eco Material Manager of Class, and today I'm going to talk about sustainability and circular economy in the textile industry. So starting from Class, we are a platform that was founded in 2007 by Giuseppe Bettoni, and since the real beginning, our objective and aim is to integrate of the dimension of sustainability inside the apparel and fashion system. So today we're going through our presentation and we try to explain our vision of responsible innovation. So starting from the first slide, we always start our presentation asking the people, what does it mean to be sustainable? What is sustainability? And I'm quite sure that if I'm asking this question to all of you that are watching this video, probably I get so many different answers. And that's totally normal because there is no proper definition about sustainability that is not an objective point of view. So it means that some people can consider sustainable the water efficiency, some others the vegan, some others the chemicals or the electricity or whatever. So there are so many aspects of it that it's quite impossible to have one single definition. So we try to give our vision around it, and especially our three-dimensional approach of sustainability. So going to the next slide, we have in the fashion and apparel market two key dimensions that are ruling the world. That are of course the design and the innovation. And if you think about design, it's quite natural that in fashion the end consumers is driven by the look. We all are consumers and we all buy with the eyes first, no matter what. Sustainability itself doesn't sell. That's a mantra for us. Sustainability has to be an added value to it. So we have design that has to be there. We have innovation because, of course, the fact that it's sustainable doesn't mean that we have to step back in innovation and performance. And of course, we need to add the third dimension of responsibility. And has to be seen like that and not as a key driver. Has to be an added value. Has to become normal. Is becoming, of course. In the latest years, we see a big improvement in the integration of sustainability, but we think that there are some steps to do yet. So we don't need to forget that this three-dimensional approach has to be present in two fundamental phases. So the first one of the creation of a garment, and the second one in communication. And the communication aspect is becoming more and more important. So we do strongly recommend all the brands that we are consulting to make an effort in communicate at best with new words, with a new language, the values that are investing in the products, especially if you're doing something that is sustainable and responsible. Okay, so going through a little bit more about the three dimension. Of course, design, I already spoke about it, but I want to highlight the fact that design is more and more important, and we have the proof inside the brands, meaning that the role of designer inside the brands is really different. It's changing and has changed a lot in the latest years. Just think that before, the designer was the person in the brand that has to select the style, that has to select the colors, the structure of the fabric, the price of it. But nowadays, the choices of designers are really impacting the full system, the full textile supply chain, and indeed the environmental impact. So if you are a designer, please consider that every single choice that you made is really affecting the full environment, talking about the real environment and also the social and ethical impact that we don't need to forget. When it comes to innovation, the second dimension, of course, we're talking about technologies and performances, but we don't need to forget that in 2020, despite the fact that we're living in this quite strange situation, we can play with many different business models. So we have, of course, the upcycling, the renting, the swapping, the selling. We have e-commerce technologies that are really changing the world. So please be creative also in the way you are making your business. And then we comes to the third dimension, so the added dimension, that is responsibility. So what does it mean, responsibility for class? So basically, you have three pillars, three columns that I put here in this chart. where everything, of course, has to start from the company. The company has to have a vision, has to have a definite, clear strategy around sustainability. Otherwise, it's completely lost in this jungle of sustainability. Of course, it has to be innovative in the approach, has to be responsible in the approach, and yes, ethical too. And if you go to the right-hand side of the slide, you see the product column. So in the product, of course, when we talk about product and responsibility in product at product level, you'll see, of course, ingredients, you see production, you see the dyeing and finishing, the manufacturing, the packaging, the transportation. So it's a very complex word. And something to add that we have to add actually in the latest 2 years is, of course, the end of life. So you as a designer, you as a brand are responsible for the end of life for your garments. So it's important that you consider it when you select the fabric, the fiber, the yarn. So it's really important. And of course, we put certification in the slide, but as you can see, we put it at the bottom. So we see certification only as a tool that proves that what we're saying is true and not vice versa. And again, for the brand, just not forget that it's not the product that makes the company, but it's the company that makes the product. So it's important to set the tone in the right way when you communicate it, and especially when you're thinking, when you're designing your product. And coming to the next slide, this is a quite self-explaining slide. I mean, this is just an overview of the key certifications that are around in the market. As you can see, they're quite a lot. They're quite complex. They're quite technical. And that's why it's important to have a strategy, a sustainable strategy in the company. Because if you're not focusing on one single direction, then all this certification comes to you and you don't know what to choose, where to go, how to invest money, because we know it's a business also, the certification. So you need to be, you need to be focused on your product, focus on your philosophy, and follow your strategy. Just 2 words about the new values. So the company and product certification are quite renowned in the market. What is not so clear are the new values. So the new values for us, of course, are transparency and traceability. As you can see from the slide that I showed you before, transparency and traceability are really ruling the new generation of consumers, so meaning the famous Generation Z and millennials are really driving by these new values. So when we talk about new values, we would like to highlight always the LCA, that is the life cycle assessment. That is basically a study, an analysis that is creating a sort of identity card of a product. It means that there is a third-party company that is visiting your company, your production company, and is making a great and objective analysis of your environmental impact. So at the end of the study of the LCA, you have numbers, objective numbers, that say, okay, compared to a conventional production, a conventional cotton, a conventional polyester, wool, whatever, you have savings of 80% water, of 90% of energy. And there are plenty of materials in the market that have this LCA. And you know what? With this LCA, you got numbers, and the numbers are quite easy to communicate, meaning that the end consumers is easily understanding more the numbers than a logo of certification. Of course, it's not their job to understand all the technical stuff behind the certification. But if you say in your labels, in your garment label, that this garment is saving 50% of water compared to the conventional one, well, you got an extra point for them. So coming to the next slide, circular economy. I'm sure that all of you knows what does it mean, which is the philosophy behind, but just to give a clearer image of it, you know, we are now in a linear economy, basically, between linear and recycling. But we want to go into the circular economy, where basically we keep the product waste and materials at maximum level during the full lifespan, meaning that we are trying to follow the cradle-to-cradle cycle that, as you can see from the next slide, they have 2 cycles. So we have the biological cycle and the technical cycle. The biological cycle is where basically you create a product that When you leave it, when you dispose it, it's automatically returning into the earth without releasing bad substances. Then we have the technical cycle, that of course is more technologically advanced, where you think of a product and you can dispose a product in a way that each single parts of it can be reused at an infinite time. So it's really it's another way to be circular, because you are reusing the same product, the same components of the product, instead of the biological cycle where the product is going back to the earth again. But what about consumers? I mean, we talk about the concept behind sustainability, but what does consumers think? I already said something about millennials and Generation Z. Well, this slide, you can read it, is really quite self-explaining, but you have the current consumers that is willing to pay more, to invest more money in sustainability. But only 34% of millennial is buying sustainable products. And why? Actually, you have two big reasons. So the first one is that they cannot find a good lifestyle product. We don't like them, simply. We don't find in the market, in the stores, what we would like to buy. Simple as that. And the second one, maybe even more important, I already say something around it, is communication. Everything, every single piece that you can see in the store is eco, is green, is bio, is recycled, is organic, is whatever. So the usual sustainable wording and language is no more affecting us. I mean, that has no meaning. We don't trust them anymore, because literally we can buy an organic ice cream nowadays in the market. Of course, it's a provocation, but we need to understand more what is the meaning of sustainability, the real meaning of it. But as you can see, consumers are willing to pay more and to invest and to discover more about sustainable products. But not just consumers. The next slide, you will see about retailers. So retailers, they're not famous to be the most sustainable entity in the market, of course, but even they understand that they need sustainability in their stores, in their retailer stores. So just few words that Tom Barry said, that is the global director of Farfetch. So the key purchasing driver haven't changed, of course. Consumers are still looking for style, quality, values, and money, but brands need to deliver all of that and need to have a story to tell to their consumers about sustainability. So even the retailers are investing in sustainability. And what does it mean? That they're asking their own brands, the brands that they're reselling, to offer them only sustainable product, and they will give them priority and more exposure to all the brands that can offer these added value. And this is really a change market. Another slide about sustainability, and then I will close my speech. Does sustainability sell? This is another survey that was done in Italy in a luxury market. So 80 buyers from 25 countries, from a total business of 50 billion euro. As you can read, in the next 5 years, buyers are expected to nearly double the total spending on sustainable products, from the actual 23 to 40%. This is a huge increase, really huge. And even big advisor companies such as McKinsey are really advising and suggesting companies to put sustainability into the board priorities. So sustainability is coming, has come probably from many brands, but is coming strongly from the market itself, from the brands, from the retailers, and from the consumers. So it's up to us to get the opportunity to jump on the train and to do something that is authentic. Because around sustainability, probably you know better than I do, there are a lot of fake stories, there is a lot of money, and we need to be sure that what we buy and what we offer to the market is truly sustainable. So if you have any kind of question, comments, whatever, I leave you my personal email address. I leave you also the social media contacts of class. So just stay in touch with us, and thank you.